America is celebrating its 250th birthday, making it the perfect time to recall the last giant celebration, the Bicentennial in 1976. Patriotic designs covered everything: T-shirts, lunchboxes, beer cans, and more. Eagles, Liberty Bells, and colonial drummers appeared everywhere. Some of it was moving, some strange, and some destined for your grandmother's china cabinet. Be sure to stick around for the last one. Some unique gifts were given to the White House back then. American Freedom Train. Starting in 1975, a red, white, and blue steam locomotive rolled through all 48 contiguous states, carrying some of the most treasured artifacts in American history. Inside were national treasures, such as George Washington's personal copy of the U.S. Constitution, the original 1803 Louisiana Purchase document, the robes worn by Martin Luther King Jr. during the Civil Rights Movement, Judy Garland's famous dress from the 1939 film The Wizard of Oz, and much more. Over 7 million people came out to see it at stations across the country. The American Freedom Train consisted of 26 cars, 10 dedicated to displays, and 2 showcase cars, which housed oversized items such as the lunar rover. For most kids, watching that train pull in was the closest they'd ever come to touching American history. Decanters. Decanters, especially those stylized as the Liberty Bell, were among the kitschiest bicentennial souvenirs. Philadelphia Heritage Whiskeys sold one of the best bell-shaped bottles, while Lejeune Brandy and Old Mr. Boston had their own versions of the Liberty Bell. Jim Beam went absolutely wild, producing a Jim Beam 200 Martha Washington bottle, a series featuring the cover of the Saturday Evening Post, Republican elephant, and Democratic donkey designs. And last but not least, one for Crispus Attucks. If anyone knows who he is, let us know in the comments. Once the whiskey disappeared, nobody threw the bottle away. It sat on a shelf for decades, collecting dust and insisting that someday it would become extremely valuable. Currency. Of course, a big birthday needed some new money. The quarter featured a colonial drummer, the half dollar showed Independence Hall, and the Eisenhower dollar displayed the Liberty Bell floating above the moon. Each carried the dates 1776 to 1976. On Thomas Jefferson's birthday, the $2 bill returned, featuring the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Anyone else still keeping $2 bills just in case they're valuable? Let us know. Fire hydrants. In towns and cities everywhere, fire hydrants were painted to look like Revolutionary War soldiers, Uncle Sam's Minutemen, and colonial women. Some neighborhoods even held contests called Paint-A-Plug. Colorful and homemade, the hydrants perfectly captured the quirky, creative spirit of the 70s, when plenty of us found fun in unexpected places. No video games, social media, or streaming yet. Snacks and fast food collectibles. McDonald's handed out Anchor Hawking Fire King coffee mugs free with breakfast orders. As for food, they offered a trio of strawberry, vanilla, and blueberry shakes. Burger King issued a 4-glass bicentennial collector set with Have It Your Way branding. Clark bars were redesigned as Clark 1776 Bicentennial bars, and Gibbles had bicentennial potato chip tins. Practically everything you ate that summer came packaged in patriotism, whether you wanted it or not.
America loves burgers, and we're America's Burger King.
Lunchboxes. The Bicentennial turned metal lunchboxes into something a kid could carry with pride. The 1975 Yankee Doodle lunchbox used cheerful comic strip art with fife players, drummers, and figures representing colonial-era Americans, reminiscent of the animated educational style of Schoolhouse Rock. Aladdin's Back in '76 box showed children watching Paul Revere's Ride, a key event warning of British troop movements, and included humorous patriotic scenes wrapped around the sides, such as one of George Washington, commander of the Continental Army, getting his shoes shined. Disney's 1976 America on Parade featured Mickey, Donald, Goofy, and costumed characters under flags, stars, and banners. All 3 lunchboxes included a thermos and repeated the same artwork, making lunchtime more fun. Toys and stuff. Children had patriotic yo-yos, puzzles, dolls, toy cannons, miniature Liberty Bells, plastic soldiers, and American Freedom Train models. Bicentennial Barbie appeared in a white mob cap, blue bodice, red skirt, and pantaloons, looking ready for a revolution or a tea party. Adults collected keychains, pins, patches, medallions, ashtrays, and bumper stickers reading "Happy Birthday, America." If something could be stamped with a flag and a date, someone made it. Just slap a sticker on your bumper to show off national pride. Operation Sail. On July 4th, Operation Sail brought 225 sailing ships from 30 nations, including tall ships that passed beneath the Verrazano Narrows Bridge and moved through New York Harbor toward the Hudson River. More than 6 million spectators crowded shorelines, rooftops, bridges, and boats to watch. President Gerald Ford watched from the deck of the USS Forrestal and rang a ceremonial bell 13 times. Against Manhattan's mid-70s skyline, the ships looked graceful. For a day, New York City was filled with the smells of salt air, diesel fumes, and hot dogs. The smell of patriotism. Beer. Beer cans became a miniature history lesson. Philadelphia's Ortlieb's Brewing Company issued a monthly bicentennial collector series beginning in 1975 with cans depicting patriotic subjects. Falstaff released bright red, white, and blue cans featuring the Liberty Bell and the slogan "Falstaff salutes the bicentennial." Narragansett also used a Liberty Bell design, while Budweiser aired revolutionary-themed advertising beneath its familiar "When you say Budweiser" slogan. Beer can collecting was already a popular hobby in the 1970s, and the bicentennial gave that community a whole new category to chase. Soda. Pepsi designed its cans with a presidential seal. Coca-Cola filled television screens with flag-waving commercials. The most ambitious bicentennial soda promotion was 7-Up's. Its United We Stand collection included 50 cans, one representing each state. Arrange them correctly, and the red and blue printing formed an image of Uncle Sam built from tiny 7-Up logos. RC Cola also redesigned its bottles. Children drank the soda and saved the containers, which parents eventually tossed out. The Bicentennial Wagon Train. Starting in 1975, over 300 wagon trains from all 50 states set out for Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, retracing old pioneer and migration routes as a commemorative journey. Valley Forge is historically significant as the winter encampment of the Continental Army during the 1777-78 Revolutionary War. Thousands of participants lived on the wagons for stretches of the trip, cooking over open fires as towns turned out to greet them along the way. Country music and period clothing made each stop feel like a journey on the frontier. Onlookers cheered them on, and school children wrote essays about these pioneers. The trains finally converged at Valley Forge in early July 1976, where President Ford welcomed the participants. Board games. Board games made arguing over American history much more fun. Codeco's The USA Bicentennial game wrapped American history in trivia, maps, and patriotic box art, while Your America, also from Codeco, asked players to know the country beyond fireworks and flags. The Bicentennial games were full of patriotic challenges, the kind that promised education, but your family ended up accusing each other of cheating or not knowing the rules. Then there was Avalon Hill's 1776 Bicentennial Edition, a heavier Revolutionary War strategy game for those wanting complex campaigns. Either way, families played with these games that summer and then stored them away. Schoolhouse Rock, American Rock. Saturday mornings suddenly became more patriotic when ABC's Schoolhouse Rock introduced America Rock. They were short animated history lessons during Saturday morning cartoon commercial breaks. The series taught kids civics and history lessons through catchy songs. No More Kings explained independence, The Shot Heard Round the World covered the Revolution, and the preamble made the Constitution something kids could sing. I'm Just a Bill followed a nervous piece of legislation through Congress, unsure whether it would make it. These weren't just cute cartoons. Millions of kids actually learned history through them. Ask anyone who watched Saturday morning TV in 1976, and they can still hum at least one of them. CBS Bicentennial Minute. For more than 2 years, CBS slipped tiny history lessons into primetime television, sponsored by Shell Oil and later by Raid, the bug repellent. Each Bicentennial Minute lasted roughly 60 seconds and featured a celebrity recounting something connected to that calendar date in American history. The segments began with a dramatic drum roll and ended with the familiar "That's the way it was." They were brief enough to pay attention to, yet memorable enough that the phrase still triggers a core memory. Clothes. There was no shortage of polyester shirts, bell-bottoms, and leisure suits in red, white, and blue. JCPenney, Sears, and Montgomery Ward had you covered. Levi's sold the Big E Stars and Stripes flare jeans. Craft stores and Five and Dimes sold iron-on Bicentennial logo transfers sold by the millions. Children wore striped shirts to school assemblies all across America, while adults arrived at cookouts looking like walking parade floats. The photos from that summer were something. Everyone dressed like the American flag.
Johnny Miller Menswear. It brings to Sears what Miller the man brings to golf. Winning style. Exclusively in selected larger Sears stores.
The official Bicentennial logo. One design appeared so often in 1976 that you couldn't go anywhere without looking at it. Graphic designer Bruce Blackburn, who co-designed the modern NASA logo, created the official Bicentennial logo from flowing red, white, and blue ribbons arranged around a rounded star. It was built to work on everything: postage stamps, highway signs, the sides of trains, and coffee mugs. You didn't have to look far to find it. It was just everywhere and on everything. Television specials. On July 4th, CBS ran In Celebration of Us with Walter Cronkite. NBC aired Happy Birthday America with Paul Anka, and guests included Casey and the Sunshine Band and Mark Spitz, followed by Bob Hope's Bicentennial Star Spangled Spectacular with Sammy Davis Jr., Donnie and Marie, and Captain and Tennille. ABC presented the Great American Birthday Party with Harry Reasoner. For a country that only had 3 channels, the sheer amount of bicentennial programming that day made July 4th, 1976 feel unlike any other day in TV history. License plates. States across the country featured stars, Liberty Bells, flags, colonial figures, and state outlines on their license plate. Pennsylvania promoted the Bicentennial State, while other states added slogans or graphics to passenger plates. The designs turned road trips into Easter eggs to spot along the way. Today, collectors hunt down examples with clean paint and matching registration stickers. Back then, they were simply bolted onto station wagons and driven through the elements. As seen on TV. Your dad leaned forward in his recliner and said to the TV, "I have to have it." The Franklin Mint offered pieces like the We the People 2.5-inch bronze-proof medal featuring 30 famous Americans. Aren't these bicentennial medals of the original 13 states spectacular? Check out this 14-inch sterling silver bowl weighing more than 5,300 grams. The Danbury Mint offered more than just currency proofs. Check out this set of 3 Danbury Mint bicentennial sterling silver plates, or these porcelain bicentennial bills. Then there's this bicentennial bowl decorated with patriotic scenes. These pieces arrived in velvet cases, binders, and certificates, along with the promise that they might be worth a fortune. Naturally, many ended up untouched in china cabinets. Boston Pop's July 4th concert. Arthur Fielder conducted the Boston Pops with the Charles River Esplanade every 4th of July. But 1976 was different. About 400,000 people showed up. The concert climaxed with Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture, performed alongside actual cannon fire from National Guard howitzers, church bells ringing across the city, and fireworks exploding overhead. It was broadcast on television, and the footage is still worth a look, with Arthur swinging his arms with joyful abandon. That performance set the template for every Boston Pops 4th of July broadcast that followed, and nothing has quite matched it since. Household goods. All stores, whether they were dime stores or Macy's, sold bicentennial-related goods. Cookie jars, towels, ashtrays, and bedspreads, you name it, they had it. You no doubt had these patriotic drinking glasses from Federal Glass. Remember the Folgers coffee tin that looked like a Revolutionary War tin drum, which later held sewing supplies, screws, or dead batteries? How about this Eagle Corningware casserole dish? Most items were mass-produced and never expected to survive. Yet many are still sitting in an attic somewhere, waiting for Gen Zs to open it as their inheritance. Yikes! Hollywood. Hollywood gave you reason to celebrate. In Rocky, Apollo Creed entered the championship fight, first cosplaying as George Washington, then stripping off his outfit to reveal himself as buff Uncle Sam. With all that hype, Rocky Balboa didn't stand a chance. After Archie Bunker delivers one of his rambling lectures about immigration and the Statue of Liberty, Archie's son-in-law, Mike, sarcastically remarks, "I think we just heard Archie Bunker's Bicentennial Minute." Farrah Fawcett's swimsuit poster was not an official bicentennial product, but her red swimsuit, bright white smile, and striped blanket were perfectly timed for the summer of '76. Although they were Debbie Downers, films like Network and All the President's Men reflected a cynical America while celebrating its birthday that year. The parade. Marching bands, military units, floats, horses, historical cosplayers, veterans, and representatives from across the country passed national monuments leading up to July 4th. Johnny Cash served as the official Grand Marshal of the parade down Constitution Avenue. He rode in an antique 1936 Packard to wave to the crowd of 500,000 spectators. All three networks carried it live. What made it stand out was the feeling in the crowd. People who had lived through Vietnam and Watergate still showing up for something they believed in, while protesters gathered near the Lincoln Memorial. The Capitol delivered exactly what 1976 promised. Ceremony, crowds, fireworks, politics, and nowhere convenient to park. Heavy machinery. Nothing said we love our made-in-the-USA machines in our country like painting it with stars and stripes. Case produced a 1576 variation Agricane tractor in red, white, and blue. Steiger created patriotic Panther tractors, and Ertl sold 1/64 scale toy versions for children who preferred farming equipment to action figures. It wasn't limited to agricultural equipment. We had lawnmowers, snowblowers, trucks, locomotives, cement mixers, and even chainsaws with bicentennial graphics. This was a statement. Heavy-duty equipment keeps America running, and we love to build stuff. Gifts. The White House received many gifts from around the world. Queen Elizabeth II presented a Royal Crown Derby Soup tureen. France gave Ford a wooden printing press dating from 1785, and Japan donated 53 flowering cherry trees to the National Arboretum. Americans contributed quilts, plaques, sculptures, medals, clothing, and a hand-carved Marlin rifle. Perhaps the most unique gift is from the Girl Scouts of Wisconsin, who created a walnut plaque spelling the Declaration of Independence with alphabet noodles. We're not sure how many gifts the White House received, but the Gerald R. Ford Presidential Library and Museum currently holds over 3,000 bicentennial-related artifacts. It goes to show the whole world celebrated America's 200th birthday.
It was a magnificent expression in America of our happiness that democracy under a constitutional government had worked.
There you have it. Did you own any of these things or participate in any of these moments? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, watch another one. Here's the forgotten American dream that no longer exists.